IPMNation.com.
Hi, this is Christian Shields, and you're listening to Local Outbreak on 100.1 FM, The Planet, and IPM Nation.
Oh my God.
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. This is Matt from IPM Nation. We are here at the studio at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia as we do the show every week. Funky little gift shop and art gallery. TheStudioNH.com is a website if you want to check it out online. And like I always say, please support not only local music but local businesses as well, the studio. And of course, we're sponsored by Central NH Events. If you need a DJ for your event, you can go to centralnhevents.com. Tim Martin will DJ your shindig, your hootenanny, whatever it may be, and he does a phenomenal job. And of course, Tweak Sound and Mastering, Matt Marcil, if you need some engineering and production done for your music. He does a great job and is a big part of what makes this show possible. tweaksound.com is the website. And of course, also more recently, we've been sponsored by Sonic Wallpaper, and they offer music lessons for people who perhaps might otherwise have difficulty affording them. So very, very cool thing that they're doing for the local community. You can find them on Facebook. Just search Sonic Wallpaper, and Ryan LeMay and his cohorts there are doing a phenomenal job as well. And we are joined tonight here at the studio by Christian Shields, who, by the way, I believe we've met before.
I actually believe we have.
Yes.
Now that you say that,
We didn't talk about it before the show, but because you were in the band Dreamer.
that is correct.
And Dreamer played a show, which unfortunately, through no fault of you guys, didn't go that well because we were in a situation. This was a couple of years ago now. Actually, not even that long ago. But we had booked you guys for a show in downtown Concord. And they screwed up the timing of it, the venue. So you guys only ended up, you guys traveled all that way, only ended up getting to play 3 songs.
I remember that. I was just going to say, the second you said that, the light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It is such a small world.
It is.
I've been realizing that more and more lately. That was interesting. Like I said, we got up here, and then they were like, oh yeah, you guys were supposed to be here an hour ago. And we're like, no. And then,
it wasn't your fault. It was
right.
totally
the venue.
Time. And you got to play. Actually, they wanted me to only let you play 2 songs, and then I just kind of pretended not to hear that and let you play 3 and just tried to push it because I remember, I won't say the name of the venue, but I remember thinking I don't ever want to work with this place again anyway because I felt really badly, because you guys were awesome. But to your credit, also too, you were totally professional about it and really, really cool and understanding, which was awesome. So.
Yeah, stuff happens. I mean, we're there to do, we were there to perform and entertain. So, they gave us 3 songs. We did 3 songs, and we made sure that we put on a show. Yeah, no, that was very cool. And actually, your brother Nathan recommended that I interview you tonight. So, now is Dreamer completely done, or Dreamer's on hiatus right now?
Okay,
we're doing our own things right now. It's just I
know Nathan has a new band. And
he has a new band. His band is called Neverless. Just in different places right now, just trying to. Just get creative stuff out musically, just in different avenues.
Yeah,
it's always healthy to do that.
And you've got this EP, I'm Listening Now.
Yep.
And why don't we play a track from this, and then we'll come back and chat. What do you want to play to open the show?
Let's do the lead single, which is "Until We Meet Again."
All right, "Until We Meet Again" from Christian Shields here on Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet.
You'll forget that you don't wanna love me. The second you get lonely, the second you get lonely, you'll pretend that you've acquired new intents. I'll pretend that I don't know how this ends with you. Try to figure me out. I just don't possess the defenses that I'm needing now. Before too long, you're too far gone. Until we meet again. drift apart, but so do continents. I bet New York shores regret whatever they shouldn't have said. Pretend that we are unlike them. I'll pretend that I don't know how this ends with you trying to figure me out. I just don't possess the defenses that I'm needing now. Before too long, you're too far gone until we meet again. Holding it and now it's gone. Like all it knows to do is run. It's with you trying to figure me out. I just don't possess the defenses that I'm needing now. Before too long, you're too far gone until we meet again.
Welcome to Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. And we're here with Christian Shields tonight. We were just talking off air about that ill-fated show. And the individual who, she was actually the one, Mel, we'll say her name, who booked the show. So we can actually blame her for everything. Everything that went wrong that night.
I guess we can, but...
I mean, I'm happy to.
I mean... That's fine. I mean, like, I really don't care. I mean, it was still a good time regardless.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Good people, and we had a good time. So I don't want to...
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's just...
Well, I really do like to blame her for stuff, but other than that, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But we were also talking in the break. There's a video for that song, Until We Meet Again.
Yes, if you go to my YouTube channel, which if you go to christianshields.net, it'll link you out to all my social media pages and all that stuff. You can go to YouTube and obviously view the video.
Yes. And do you plan to do more videos for the other tracks, or...?
At some point, yes. Right now, there's nothing in the works, but definitely at some point, I'd like to do some other videos.
Now, how long has the EP been out? Is it
the EP's only been out since April 28th, and realistically, the promotion really started in May.
Yeah,
and then I've just been playing out since June on this EP, so it's very new.
So have you, prior to this, have you done solo stuff before, or were you always in a band?
I was always in a band. I kind of did like a little like one-off thing, but it was kind of like an extension of Dreamer, and that quickly fizzled out. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go. I decided to go in a completely different direction, and my producer recommended that as well. So we just kind of just like, all right, let's throw that other thing out the window and let's do this and focus on this, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, you and Nathan, you've been in Dreamer for a while, right?
Yeah, we did Dreamer since 2010, and then it ended in at the end of 2013.
Okay, all right. So that transition to doing the solo thing, is that something you always kind of wanted to do, or was it more just like, I think I'll try this? I mean, was it spontaneous, or was it always kind of in the back of your mind?
It wasn't. It definitely wasn't premeditated. It just kind of like events just led up to it, and like I said, just the everything that went on with Dreamer and stuff like that. It just felt right at the time to do that. To just say, hey, look, you know what? I need to do this, and I don't want. Like I said, I can't say that there was one or two events or something that was like, yes, I already had this in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Like I said, it wasn't premeditated. It was just something, I guess, that just happened organically and naturally over time. Yeah. And I'm happy.
There wasn't any sort of did you and Nathan have like a big Nolan Liam Gallagher type fight or something? Or
well, we're brothers. We're gonna argue and we're gonna fight a little bit.
I'm looking for the dirt, Christian. I'm always looking for the dirt.
All right, yeah, that's fine. I mean, there was a disagreement there, but
really?
it ended up just being mutual. It was just like, we had a lot going on. There was a lot of pressure, because from outside stuff, and it was just like, you know what? We need to cool it. We need to put the brakes on. Yeah. We need to like take some time to go in another direction.
So was that, speaking of pressure, I mean, to go from a band situation to doing the solo thing, is that a lot of pressure, or does it feel pretty natural?
At first, it was just a new experience. I wouldn't say it was like pressure or nerve-wracking or anything like that. It was just new. Everything was new because it's different. You're used to working with three other guys, and then like when you're by yourself, it's like you can't be like, hey, can you do this or can you do that? It's like,
right.
there's nobody around, so I have to do everything, or the team that's around me. And I know I'm fortunate to have a great help around and stuff like that, behind the scenes, and it just it's been a blast.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about that too. You talk about having a lot of help, and I told you before the show that you've really got it together in terms of everything. I mean, the whole package is very professional. What kind of help do you have? Do you have a label that you're on? Do you have management?
No label yet. But I have a business partner. His name's Roland Hines. He's I would say he's kind of like my manager. Yeah. And we don't officially call him a manager. He doesn't really like that title. So he definitely helps me out. And it's just easy just to be like, hey, I don't have, I'm stuck. Yeah. And then see what he says. Plus, I have a great, producer, Anthony Santo. He's amazing. Make sure you guys check him out. Mm-hmm. He's worked with great bands from Sony, Universal, all sorts of labels like that.
So how'd you hook up with him?
I want to say it's a long story, but it's not really. It was back in I want to say definitely 2010. My brother and I had a band that was called Last One Standing, and we made an EP, and it somehow got to him in New York, but it didn't get to him originally. It went through a third party. It was this guy that worked for him as an engineer in his studio. His name was Mike Gaudiello, and I remember he called me up and he's like, oh, you're from Last One Standing, and he goes, you guys want to do a record? Huh. And he named a price, and I'm not going to say that price, and I was like, who are you? And then I basically said, no, thank you. And then, that was in February of I would say 2010. Yeah. And then, by August, we were sitting here, and I was thinking, and me and my brother looked at each other, and I was like, my brother was like, and I were like, why don't we just give that guy a call and see what he has to say? Yeah. So I gave him a call, but instead of him saying what he wanted to do, I told him what I wanted to do, because then I actually looked into it deeper. I looked into the studio, the clients they worked with, all that stuff, and I'm like, I probably should not have told this guy no. So
and how much time had elapsed at that point? When
probably 6 months. So but when I called him, he was like, yeah, he goes, let me get you in touch with my boss, Anthony Santo. And then so we went to New York and we met with him, and he was like, yeah, I want to work with you guys. And then we ended up going through a lineup change. We ended up disbanding Last One Standing, and we got 2 new guys to do Dreamer with, Skaggs and the event. And then we just ended up making the record. We went to New York. We made the record in December of that year, and the next year, we went out and played as Dreamer for the next 2 years. So 2011, 2013, actually 3 years. Yeah. So that's the story.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long story.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's cool though. That's great. And if you're definitely fortunate that you were able to make that call 6 months later and have it still work out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was I just kind of because I didn't expect him to be whatever, but he was actually really enthusitic. I haven't talked to Mike in a long time. Him and Santo, they ended up parting ways. Oh, okay. I don't know what the deal with that is, but like I said, obviously I'm in touch with Santo because we just did this record, which we did it in funny 3 years later. Yeah. 2014. I went to New York in December, did all the tracking, and then in March of this year, I went down to Austin, Texas, to his other studio that he just opened. He works for Westfall Recording, in case you guys are wondering if you want to check him out. And
I saw that on here. Yeah.
Yep. We mixed and mastered it there, and that's where we shot the music video for Until We Meet Again.
Cool, very cool. So is this? I mean, is it more satisfying doing the solo thing or than being in a band in terms of creativity and all that?
I wouldn't say it's more satisfying. I would just say at this point it's what the direction is and what I want to do, because I had fun being in a band, and I jam with friends on occasion and stuff like that. That's always fun, but this is my direction, what I want to do. So it like I said, it just feels very natural, very organic. Yeah. So I wouldn't say satisfying is the right word, but I would say that it's right.
Is everything self-written?
I co-wrote the stuff with the producer.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We worked together as a songwriting team because he really wanted to develop the new direction, because I was into obviously writing rock and roll and 80s hair metal-esque stuff. Yeah. We're not in the 80s, so we can't say that. Right. But it was very glam and stuff like that, and he wanted to make sure when he called me up in November of last year to do this record, he wanted to be this EP, he wanted to be let's make sure that we say, this is what you did in the past, but this is where you are now, to show growth, and basically do like a complete about face saying you can do this, but you can also do that.
Right. Very cool. Well, let's play another track from the EP. What do you want to play next?
Let's play the title track. I'm listening now.
All right, very good. So this is the title track from Christian Shields' new EP, I'm Listening Now, and this is called I'm Listening Now. Take a listen.
I love how you're closed off. It's got me thinking of you with your clothes off. I'm about to run out of patience. I idealize beyond all rationale, like my head lost control of my mouth. Oh, so I never listen. Well, I'm listening now. It's funny how you're afraid of commitment, but love being tied down. Oh, so I never listen. Well, I'm listening now. It's funny how you're afraid of commitment, but love being tied down. Tongue wins more fights than my bite does. Another victim to my voice's cadence. I idealize beyond all rationale, like my head lost control of my mouth. Oh, so I never listen. Well, I'm listening now. It's funny how you're afraid of commitment, but love being tied down. Oh, so I never listen. Well, I'm listening now. It's funny how you're afraid of commitment, but love being tied down. She mentioned to me that she'd hate to be another notch in my bedpost. The thing she believes she saw on TV, who actually does that? Oh, so I never listen. Well, I'm listening now. It's funny how you're afraid of commitment, but love being tied down. Oh, so I never listen. Well, I'm listening now. It's funny how you're afraid of commitment, but love being tied down. I'm listening now. I'm listening now. I'm victim to my power of fiction. I'm listening now. I'm listening now. I'm victim to my voice's cadence. I'm listening now. I'm listening now. I'm victim to my power of fiction. I'm listening now. I'm listening now. I'm victim to my voice's cadence.
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. We are at the studio in downtown Laconia. By the way, please make sure you come by and check it out. Support your local businesses. And this is a very, very cool place. The studio at 50 Canal Street in Laconia. And thestudionh.com is a website if you want to check it out online. Very grateful to Melissa for giving us this space to do the show every week because, we could do it in a regular radio studio, but those tend to be very cramped and uncomfortable. A radio studio is not a glamorous place.
I've been in quite a few, and you are correct.
Yeah.
It's kind of dark, kind of gloomy, and
you're
kind of just like stuck in front of the microphone, and it's like you got to sit there.
It's not like what people expect it's going to be.
You are correct.
Have you been doing a lot of radio interviews for this? Because you'd mentioned earlier you've been really kind of hitting it hard as far as the promotion.
Yeah, I've been trying anything. I mean, I did one last night, and this is going to be my second actually, and I'm actually surprised that it's like so far. I figured it'd be more close to the Providence area, but there's been nothing going on where I'm from. So, like I did the Joe Cronin show, which is Rage Internet Radio, last night in Worcester, Massachusetts, and then obviously I'm here with you guys tonight in Laconia. So it's like I'm on hopefully I'm on a radio tour or something.
Yeah.
Hopefully more people will catch on and be like, yo, let's get this guy on.
Hey,
sorry, I shouldn't say yo, but
now you're getting the local Outbreak bump.
That's awesome.
What was the name of the station you were on last night?
It's the Joe Cronin Show on Rage Internet Radio.
Rage Internet Radio. Rage, that word makes its way into a lot of internet radio stations. If you notice, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm wearing a Rage Rock Radio shirt, which is now defunct. But Rage Rock Radio was an internet station. It was my first hosting gig was on that station. So
that's funny. That's just weird. I think he's going more so by the Joe Cronin Show. I think he's more or less going to that. He does he does mostly podcasts now.
Yeah.
But he broadcasts. I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to move to, but I know he interviews bands. He hasn't done that many lately, as far as I know. But he's definitely been doing, he's trying to move in that direction.
Yeah,
he's been trying to do the wrestling podcast thing, which has been doing really well for him.
Oh, no kidding!
I know him personally, so he's a good guy. He's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
And we chatted for like 2 hours last night. We had a good time.
Yeah. So in terms of your live set, what's that like? Does some of the Dreamer stuff make it into that, or are you strictly focused on solo material, or how does that work?
Right now we're doing one Dreamer song. The song we're doing Last Goodbye, which is off of the Turn It Up record. And that's it for now. I don't want to rule out us doing anything else, but I'm kind of trying to keep everything in the same vein of the alternative rock and all that stuff. Very, I don't want to say easy listening because I don't want anybody to get upset. But just very, just very alternative. We'll just leave it at that. That way, and then if people can, want to disagree and whatever, that's fine. They can say it to me afterwards. But I think we'll just leave it at that.
That's the hard thing about labels in music is that different terms mean different things to different people. I always use the example of metal. To some people, metal means anything like only stuff that's like really loud and heavy and thrashy, like Slayer and stuff like that. That's metal. Mm-hmm. And to other people, metal is anything with guitars and drums that's got any kind of a rock feel. Like when I was a kid, I remember seeing Bon Jovi on the cover of Metal Edge magazine, and I always thought that was strange. But to some people, it's not.
Well, it was glam metal, if you remember.
Right, or hair metal.
I wasn't even born yet, and I know.
Yeah. But that can be the tricky thing about labels. But as you've obviously observed. In the radio world, it's hard to avoid them because you're expected to put some sort of a label on something in order to market it. It gets very tricky.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, you have to it has to be categorized so that way you know who your target audience is, and it is about marketing, it is about demographics and all that stuff, and you just got to know. Who are your fans and who are not, and don't go after the people who are not going to like you or never going to like you. Just focus on the people that do, and do what they like you to do.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of your live set, so what? Obviously, I mean, I assume you're playing everything from the EP, right?
Yeah, we're playing the full EP.
And then, do you have other material too that you add in?
We've been doing a couple covers. I've been covering "I'll Follow You Into the Dark" by Death Cab for Cutie.
Oh, no kidding.
Because that's definitely it's in the. If you listen to the song lately on the EP, it's like kind of like that vein. And then just for fun, just to kind of like. If people ask for an encore or whatever, we'll do TNT by AC/DC.
Oh, no kidding!
Yeah, we just got to. You got to. Just
cool.
to keep it fun, and that's also the beauty of being like a solo artist or a singer songwriter.
Yeah.
If we want to categorize it as that, instead of being in a band where you're in. I don't want to say you're in a box because not every band's in a box.
Right.
But there's not much room to go in any direction. You kind of can go a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah.
But at least with a singer songwriter, you can pretty much do anything you want, and that's the beauty of it. And that's now that I've said that, it's actually been a little bit liberating too to be a singer-songwriter, because now if I come up with a little obscure thing, it's not like, oh, that's too obscure, we can't use that.
Right. Would that happen in Dreamer sometimes? Those kinds of, I guess it happens in any band to some degree.
There's definitely material where it's like, that's a good song, but that's not us.
Yeah.
So it's just like, no, you know what I mean?
Right. Which is frustrating. I've been in some bands, and it's hard when somebody has a really good idea that is a good idea, but then there's that sort of, well, I don't know if it fits what we're doing, and then part of you kind of goes, well, why does it matter? We should do whatever sounds good and feels right.
See, in theory and in principle, what you're saying is correct, but applied to actual situations, it just doesn't. I mean, maybe in some cases it does.
Yeah.
But
some bands can get away with that.
Yeah, some definitely can.
Yeah.
But it's very rare. And most bands stick to a formula that works, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if they're happy and the fans are happy, then that's all that matters.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have a formula already, or is it kind of early in this?
I would say it's kind of early,
career?
But definitely, with Dreamer, it was more obviously 80s rock, stuff like that. But with this, I can go in any direction. And that's the beauty of it. Like right now, this is just the intro, and then we're obviously going to promote this for a little while, and then after that, obviously head back to the studio and cut some more tracks, and we'll see what that does, and wherever direction that goes, then we can reevaluate.
Yeah. Why the decision to do an EP? I'm always interested in this because some guests I talk to, a lot of people now will do an EP. Some still do a full length. Some people just release singles online and they've given up on the whole EP or album format. What went into your decision to do an EP?
Well, what went into my decision to do an EP is instead of doing a full length LP, a record, I felt like that was too much material to release at this time. Because I'm introducing myself as a solo artist. I'm testing the waters with the EP, saying, hey, these are 5 new tracks from me. You guys have obviously heard what I've done with Dreamer. So these are 5 new tracks from me, and then I want to hear everybody's opinion and see whatever, and then obviously take that into consideration, and then maybe the next set of songs that I do might be a full length, it might be another EP, it might just be a couple singles.
Sure.
It all depends on... I guess it just all depends on the situation.
Yeah.
And especially in the case of bands, some bands they want to release a record, that's fine, and some bands they want to release a single, that's fine as well. It's whatever works for them.
Yeah.
I always say that, what works for you isn't going to work for me and vice versa.
Right.
So it's more or less you gotta judge the situation and just feel it out. And if that's what you want to do, go for it.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, but always stick to your guns.
Yeah.
But
and we live in an interesting time where you have those options. I'm older, and when I was a kid, it was because I was always, from a very young age, I was always interested in the music industry, not just in terms of being a musician, but the business itself. So, I would read everything I could and observe everything I could. And at that time, when I was growing up, it was very much, an artist put out an album and they would release a single. Usually the first single, about a month before the album actually came out, and and then if that did well, the album would come out, and then there'd be a second single and so forth. And it was always that. And then eventually, even pre-internet, it started to change a little bit, where sometimes you might see a single way ahead of the album, and sometimes if the single flopped, you'd end up never seeing the album. But mostly that formula, it stuck with that formula. But now we're at this point where you have all these different options, like what you were talking about. Maybe you'll do a full length, maybe you'll release some singles. Who knows? Yeah. But you have that flexibility. You really can control that.
Absolutely, especially with all the mediums that it's available on. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. But the format that you were talking of, that's more or less the ideal record label business model.
Right.
And the beauty of today's times, you don't necessarily need the label to do anything. I look at it this way. There's nothing wrong with being signed to a label. There's nothing wrong with not being signed to a label. I look at it this way. The record label is the highway. If you're not signed, you're just going through the city. You're taking the scenic route. It all comes down to marketing. And going, again, not to get off topic, but going back to what you said, that's their old marketing method. That's basically single, letting this band know we got a record coming out. They see what it's like, song, try to push the record. All right, record sales X amount. Now it's starting to slow down. Let's put out another single. Record sales go back up, and that's just to make it so it stays relevant for as long as possible.
Right.
And then, that's why in the case of some albums, if it only has one single, the album is going to be short lived.
Yeah.
Whereas that's why it's tough. I always say quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
You don't need to release. Well, again, I shouldn't say you don't need to, because everybody's different. But I look at it as, if you write a record, why do you need to put, this is my opinion, if people disagree, that's fine. Why put 15 songs on a record where 5 of them may not be as good?
Right.
Why don't you just do 10 really good songs?
Yeah. Right.
That's just my argument.
Yeah.
But
well, that's something that changed too. I noticed when I was a kid, is that there was a point where typically an album would be 9 or 10 songs. and then eventually it, you know, by the time it got to be early 90s, everybody was releasing albums with 15, 16 tracks on it. And then, you know, and then eventually with the internet and everything, that started to change because there was no reason to dump out all that. Yeah. But there were a lot of cases, of course, where, so like you were saying, you know, you've got an album with 15 songs on it, maybe 5 of them, you know, just aren't worth even having on there.
But again, it's whatever you want to do. I mean, if you want to do that, I'm not telling you not to do it. I mean, obviously, I don't have all the answers or whatever. I'm not a great, like, I don't know how I should say, like a prophet or whatever, and know what works, because, you know, like I said, what works for you and what works for me is different.
Right.
Just me personally, I would want to release the best material possible.
Yeah.
And the way you determine that is how your fans' reception, how their how their reception to it is.
Sure.
And I always say people vote with their wallet.
Oh yeah.
If they like something, they're going to buy it. If they don't like it, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Exactly. Well said. Well, let's play another track from your EP. What do you want to play?
Let's slow it down a little bit. Let's do. I talked about Lately earlier, because I do the cover of Death Cab. Follow You to the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie. So let's play a little bit somber one. Let's play Lately.
All right, cool. So this is Lately from Christian Shields and his new EP. I'm listening now here on Local Outbreak and 100.1 Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation.
Taught to live? Do we all just learn to die? Is it the equivalent? An excuse for how we use our time? My heart's too full, I just can't decide what's rational. Sides with all that I've been losing lately. How does this make me strong? 'Cause it hasn't killed me yet. Maybe all the men were part of me is long past dead. My heart's too full, I just can't decide what's rational. And if it coincides with all that I've been losing just human nature that I learned lifetimes ago. My heart's too full, I just can't decide what's rational. And if it coincides with all that I've been losing
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. We are here at the studio at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia. Very nice place to be in the summer, downtown Laconia. And
it's beautiful right now.
It is. It
was awesome driving in, because I seen some good sights.
Yeah?
Really good sights.
Like what?
Just the landscape,
just
the
general,
rolling hills and stuff.
Yeah,
and
New Hampshire is a beautiful place.
And the way the sun... Yeah, I love New Hampshire.
Yeah, I don't like it in the winter, but the rest of the year it's pretty nice.
I don't think anybody likes the Northeast in the winter. And if people disagree, I want to know.
There's people out there skiing and stuff. They like it.
Well, I'm not talking about those people.
I grew up here, and I've never skied in my life. Can you believe it?
I've never skied either, so I don't know what it's like.
Good for you. Good. So we're alike.
All right, yeah, we got something in common.
I don't run into that much. People are usually like, "What? You grew up here and you've never skied?" And I'm like, "No, I've never skied."
It's not something that's interests me. I don't know.
I don't want to be out in the cold.
I don't think that's the reason why I don't want to do it. I just look at it. I'm like, not for me. Not for me. I'll stick with having a guitar in my hands. Thank you.
There you go. So what do you have coming up? Are you playing a lot of shows? You doing a lot of touring? Or?
Right now, I'm in the process of booking more shows. Definitely looking at the out-of-state market now, seeing what's around for Connecticut, New York, Jersey, all those places. Mass, New Hampshire, of course.
Yeah.
I know I have fans up here that haven't seen me in a while, so I got to get back up here so they can see that.
Yeah.
I don't have a time frame yet. I only have one show booked for August, and that's August 23rd at Fat Squirrel in Providence.
Okay.
It used to be the Old Century Lounge for anybody that knows that place.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And, I've been playing a little bit full band, but I've been doing a lot of open mic, solo acoustic, just to try to build new fans and stuff like that. Those are always free. If you ever see me at one, come on down and say hi. You'll be able to talk to me and all that stuff. But right now I'm just in the process of booking shows, scheduling all that stuff. I got a couple up in the air, but I don't want to say anything until it's official. Even though I have some tentative dates,
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse people and be like, "Oh yeah, this show," and then they go there and it's like, "What? I thought the show was happening," and then it really wasn't.
Right. Of course, yeah.
But if you want to keep up to date on everything that I'm doing, if you go to ChristianShields.net, you can sign up for my email list.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the page is a tab that says "Join the mailing list." Sign up. And I'll send you the notifications as they come in.
Yeah, it's a very nice website, very professional. And did your what's his name, Roland?
Yeah, Roland did the website.
He did do that. Yeah, no,
he's crafty. He's crafty like that. I don't have the patience for that stuff. He's a man that can wear many hats. We'll just say that. He's very good with art. I don't know. I try to do it, and I just like, not that I can't do it. It's just like I said, I'll just stick to playing music, man.
Yeah,
it's just not my thing. And then I have my friend, colleague, whatever you want to call him, my friend Peter Fortin. He's a really good graphics design artist. He's done stuff for the X Games.
Oh, really?
Pabst Blue Ribbon, Mountain Dew, all this stuff. He has a long resume. He did all the branding and stuff like that. He did all that.
Cool.
So he did the EP artwork, which I think came out phenomenal.
Yeah,
the photo on that was actually taken in Texas, and that's actually a shot from the music video for Until We Meet Again. That was actually a shot while we were filming the music video.
Okay.
And then he just made the graphic over it and all that stuff and designed it. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Very nice. Very nice. So ChristianShields.net is, of course, where you want to go to keep up on everything that you're doing. And thank you so much. This has been great. And what do you want to play to wrap up the show?
Before we wrap up the show, I just want to say, obviously, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those links are on the website. We covered the email list. The EP is available now on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. You can also get hard copies. You can order those as well from the website.
Excellent.
I also have, T-shirts, usual stuff like that. Just want to make sure we have all bases covered before we sign off for the night.
Absolutely.
And actually, why don't we let you pick? There's 2 songs left, which are "You'll Never Know" and "Tie Each String."
Yeah.
Let's let you pick.
"Tie Each String" is an intriguing title, so let's go with that.
All right, let's go with that one.
All right, "Tie Each String" from Christian Shields and his new EP. I'm listening now here on Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
It's like I know your eyes, but I'm all alone. We have a repartee of all reciprocal tones. Wish I could hear you say what you've been thinking. We both have baggage we refuse to stow. We've both made habits out of letting each other know. My heart wants my gravity's pull. Please just attach all the strings you can get. Tie each string to one of your fingers and raise me like a marionette. Between the lines, where that's just all for me. I have a hard time trusting even honesty. I've been left behind, cold and shaken. We both have baggage we refuse to stow. We've both made habits out of letting each other know. My heart wants my gravity's pull. Please just attach all the strings you can get. Tie each string to one of your fingers and raise me like a marionette. We should bottle the good times now. Forget the clocks and slow things down. The future can wait and see while we slowly set the scene. My heart wants my gravity's pull. Please just attach all the strings you can get. Tie each string to one of your fingers and raise me like a marionette. My heart wants my gravity's pull. Please just attach all the strings you can get. Tie each string to one of your fingers and raise me like a marionette. They've been getting dark as night. Mine, oh mine. My way to there, where I stand. You're about to find out you're in love with a madman. I stand in a room, I set a how long can we talk about this? How long can we talk about this? Flames and lack of visibility. How long can we talk about this? How long can we talk about this? You'll never know. Day by day, I've lost more control. Slip through my hands. You're about to find out you're in love with a madman. I stand in a room, I set a blaze. How long can we talk about this? How long can we talk about this? Flames and lack of visibility. How long can we talk about this? How long can we talk about this? You'll never know. I've lost track of who I am. Down in flames, I've gone better. I've brought pain to the innocent. Let it slip through my hands. I stand in a room, I set a blaze. How long can we talk about this? How long can we talk about this? Flames and lack of visibility. How long can we talk about this? 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 You'll never know.
IPMNation.com